A federal judge has dismissed the criminal indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, determining that the federal prosecutor who Donald Trump put in place, who brought the cases, guess what, wasn't lawfully appointed. U.S. District Judge Cameron Curry stated in her ruling, "I agree with Mr. Comey that the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid. Since Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, I will grant Mr. Comey's motion and dismiss the indictment." Now, Judge Curry found that Halligan, who had been appointed as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia at the direction of Donald Trump, was the only prosecutor to present the case and sign the indictments. Therefore, the judge determined that the indictments should be voided. The ruling could have significant implications for other prosecutions brought by Halligan's office during her short tenure. A similar ruling disqualifying Lena Haba as the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey has left several criminal cases initiated under her leadership in legal limbo while she appeals the decision. Now, here's the key. The judge ruled that, though, that they still could come back and present the cases. They can go back to another grand jury to actually get indictments against them. So she dismissed the case without prejudice. If she had dismissed it with prejudice, they could not bring the indictment. Goes to show you how nutcase Trump and his folks are. Ami Congo, being a senior professor at Electoral School of International Service, American University, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racism, joins me from D.C. Also, Mateo, the Justice Guy, legal and political analyst, also joins me. Mateo, I'll start with you. I mean, listen, Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice as his own personal retribution law firm. He's attacking his enemies. He fired the previous attorney general, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, because the guy wouldn't pursue this. They fired numerous other prosecutors in that office because they wouldn't take it forward. She had no choice to do it herself because other prosecutors said, ain't no case here. And now this idiot is sitting here looking like a complete fool because not only has she screwed up the indictment with what they filed, now she wasn't even lawfully in the job.
So, yeah, I'll start by saying that, yes, for sure, Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice as his personal retribution machine. But I'll add at this point that he's not doing it well either. This has been a disaster in the making for a while, and I think it's really the poster child, more so than Haba or the Assaili decision. It's the poster child for White House incompetence.
Looks like, Mateo, we're losing your signal. Not sure what's going on there. Okay, now you go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we got you.
Perfect. So I've known that this was going to happen for a few weeks. I wrote a blistering piece on the Comey indictment on my Substack, but we knew that it was going to happen. The courts in New Jersey, courts in California, courts in Nevada, I believe, had already ruled the incompetence of the White House, had already ruled on the several U.S. attorneys that had been unlawfully appointed. But in all those cases, as you said, they were disqualified because at least in those cases, there were other people, other U.S. attorneys that had co-signed. In this case, that didn't happen. So the key thing at this point is for James Comey, the indictment came at the 11th and a half hour. So statute of limitation has run out. And at this point, I think that refiling would not work. There's a thing called tolling in statute of limitations that basically says the clock continues to run unless certain things happen that didn't happen in this case. So if I were the Department of Justice at this point, I wouldn't refile because it would be probably more than likely be rejected. I think what's going to happen with Comey is they're going to file an appeal. And with Letitia James, the indictment suffered from the same consequences. But in the case of Attorney General Letitia James, I think they're going to refile and try to get an indictment. But I'll say one more thing and then I'll shut up. The issue of the misappointment, I'll call it, of Lindsay Halligan is the least of the problem of the DOJ. That indictment is rife with mistakes, with errors. I'll just say one thing. The grand jury was held after they returned a no true bill, which means now we don't think that the person should be indicted. they were held by Lindsay Halligan beyond the 5 o'clock deadline, saying, okay, I'm going to give you 2 instead of 3, and basically implying you're not going anywhere as a grand jury. You're going to be sequestered until you give me an indictment back. And that's exactly what they did. And I think that that's going to be the nail in the coffin if this eventually goes to trial, and it might not. But I think that we're going to see all of the hideous things that this DOJ is doing to hurry these. They're not prosecutions, they're personal retributions.
Well, it just goes to show you just how clueless these folks are, Congo. And Donald Trump forced this to happen. And listen, he chose a lightweight. She's never tried a federal case. She has no business being a U.S. attorney. Listen, this is why Donald Trump, go to my iPad. This is why Trump chose her, because of her looks. That's it. Yeah. For the people who claim about DEI being bad, oh my God, they are picking grossly incompetent individuals in these jobs. She has no business being in that job. Alina Habba has no business being in this job. And so I don't want to hear crap from these people about didn't earn it, because these idiots didn't earn it.
Yeah, what do they use now? MEI, merit, excellence, and intelligence, or something like that. And the people that they recruit have none of those characteristics. And for people like Halligan, one name comes to mind, Giuliani. These guys need to really be careful, because Trump's not going to experience any consequences, but these guys can face other types of penalties. They can be disbarred, maybe deal with some other issues. They're going around like this. And the fact of the matter is, with Trump, I don't even know if he'll bring another case as it relates to Comey, because I feel like part of his psyche is the indictment was the point. He got indicted, so he wants Comey.
No. Congo, no. Trust me, he is going. Dude, I'm telling you, this man is an idiot. He is about evil. He is about retribution. He's about pain. He is going to order Pam Bondi to indict him. He's going to order somebody else to do it. I'm telling you. So, listen, hang it up. He's going to do it. He doesn't care about the rule of law.
Well, and he could absolutely be right. And I couldn't argue against that. The fact of the matter is, if he's going to do that, I think the people who are watching him, who are working under him and working under Bondi, they need to start thinking about sending their resumes elsewhere, because they're not going to get away with this. Trump could try to do this to the ends of the earth, but they are so incompetent. That's why none of these cases are ever going to yield anything, because of his rush decisions, because of Bondi's inability to challenge him in any way, shape, or form. She's fine with all of this. So they're going to keep being embarrassed. Unfortunately, it's going to keep costing people like Comey, like Letitia James, like John Bolton, and like people who don't have the types of resources that they do. It's going to cost them a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of other things that some people don't want to, their companies don't want to mess with them while they're under these types of investigations. And so I'm really concerned about those things. But if Trump does keep bringing this forward, as you completely argue could actually be the case, they're going to keep failing. And watching them continually being embarrassed for their incompetence, it's great to see.
I'll tell you real simple. Donald Trump, he wants people to bow down. And if you want a job in his administration, you're going to have to bow down. He is going to make somebody do it. He's going to appoint somebody else instead of Halligan. It's going to happen. This guy he's not going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to just go ahead. No, he wants to destroy James Comey. He wants to destroy Letitia James because he believes both went after him.
I agree that I think America knows that he is driven by the desire for vengeance and certainly not to seek justice. I also think that eventually it might be his demise, but I think that it's going to be a while, because there's 300 and some odd million people in the United States. He's going to find a prosecutor. But in fact, he doesn't even have to find a prosecutor. He just has to find a lawyer. Lindsay Halligan proved it. He just has to find a lawyer. Who cares that they have prosecutorial experience or not? That will do what he wants. He likes to surround himself with yes men.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, listen, he wants folk to just listen. It's a bow down administration. He wants yes men, yes women. And listen, He's got folks who they know it's wrong. They know it's just out of bounds. But if they want a job, Omekongo, they're going to do it.
Oh, yeah, period, bottom line. I mean, they got to kiss the ring. And what's really sad about it is when you look at the way that these people, not sad, let me see. What's unfortunate about it is the amount of time and the amount of resources that are being wasted as relates to our taxpayers' dollars to pursue these types of cases. And when you look at the situation with Venezuela, why did that head of that division over there quit? Because he was saying that these strikes are unlawful. Pambodny said, do it anyway. So he's like, I'm not going to kiss the ring. And so you got the courts that are turning against him. He's going to be trying to go harder as it relates to the military right now, and they're standing up to him in various ways. You see what he's doing against the 6 representatives from the House and Senate, Mark Kelly and them who made the ad about illegal orders. He's going to keep going. He is not going to stop, and we are the ones who are suffering from it. But at the one point, when you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, leaving the House, and one of these other Republicans are going to start speaking up, going to start standing up. We know it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But in the meantime, we have to continue to support the people who don't have the resources like James Comey does, because really at the end of the day, Trump will take everybody down with him in every way, shape, and form possible. And I think finally Americans are starting to see that this is what he was about all along. We knew it here at the Black Star Network, but other people are like, oh, it's just Trump being Trump. He is evil, vindictive, and won't stop until everything is burned to the ground.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's exactly who he is. And folks just need to understand that Donald Trump this is how he is going to operate. I saw this item right here. This is Paul Speary, senior reporter, Real Clear Investigations. This is what he posted. Senior White House aides to the cabinet heads are bracing for major personnel shakeup as insiders tell me POTUS is growing increasingly unhappy with economic messaging. Among other things, shakeup could include chief of staff in new year developing. Now, Mateo, also, what has been happening here, a Jake Sherman reported a senior Republican said that you could have some mid-year resignations among Republicans, saying they could very well retire. This is what he posted. He said, let's see here. He said, a few other GOP members messaged us over the weekend saying that they too are considering retiring in the middle of the term. Here's one particular exercise, senior House Republican. This entire White House team has treated all members like garbage, and Mike Johnson has let it happen because he wanted it to happen. That is the sentiment of nearly all appropriators, authorizers, hawks, doves, rank and file. The arrogance of this White House team is off-putting to members who have run roughshod and threatened. They don't even allow little wins like announcing small grants or even responding from agencies, not even the high-profile, the regular rank and file random members are more upset than ever. Members know they're going into the minority after the midterms. More explosive early resignations are coming. It's a tinderbox. Morale has never been lower. Mike Johnson will be stripped of his gavel, and they will lose the majority before this term is out. He also said, since this ran this morning 4 hours ago, I've gotten countless text messages from House Republicans agreeing with this sentiment and saying, why the hell should we stay in Congress if all we're going to do is vote on censures and be a potted plant? Well, guess what, Mateo? I don't want to hear any of this whining and crying from any of these damn Republicans. They could stand up to Donald Trump. They only have a once Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns in January, they're not going to have a 2-seat majority in the House, okay? They could easily tell Donald Trump to go kick rocks, but they're afraid of him. They're scared of him. They are weak and they're impotent and they're unwilling to challenge him. And so even Marjorie Taylor Greene, she didn't want to run for re-election because Trump endorsed her opponent. And I'm like, you know what? You suck. You're weak. It reminds me of that punk-ass Jeff Flake in Arizona who kept giving these speeches on the Senate floor, but he was afraid to run for re-election. Bob Corker, senator from Tennessee, same thing. They were so afraid of Donald Trump because they didn't want to lose. Here's my whole deal. If you got any guts, if you have any principles, morals, values, ethics, and integrity, you would run for re-election. You would challenge Donald Trump, and you would say, yeah, y'all vote me out. And guess what? I think Thomas Massie of Kentucky is an absolute nutcase, but what he's doing is saying, Donald Trump, my voters know me better than they know you. And so I dare you and your money man to sit here and take me out, and he's not backing down. all of these Republicans who are now whining, privately and anonymously, they are weak, they're impotent, they're sorry, they're pathetic because they don't have the courage to tell Donald Trump to kiss their ass.
I see two things that are happening here. I see the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, the people that are, generally speaking, are retiring. Those are the weak people. It was okay for all of these Congress people to allow Donald Trump to abuse, manhandle, harass. But when they are at the receiving end of this harassment, then all of a sudden they start to whimper and they walk away and they throw their toys down and say, I'm not going to play anymore. Those are weak, but we know this is the GOP of 2024 and 25 is that it's weak people that say yes to the president. That's one silo. On the other silo, I started to see, we talked about a few weeks ago, we talked about the cracks that I'm seeing in the GOP. And we need to remember that every one of these lawmakers still represents their constituents. They're answering to their constituents more so than they're answering to Donald Trump. The only reason they are following Donald Trump is because they're convinced that their constituents are following Donald Trump. So they're doing what they think they're constituents. The moment that stops, and it's starting to stop, because we see the economy is biting back. We see that prices and the tariffs, all of that stuff is starting to bite back. And even the hardcore Trump followers are starting to say, is this for real or did we get conned? We found out that they were going to get conned back in 2015. It took them 10 years, but they're starting to catch on. And the more that happens, the more these lawmakers are going to say, you know what, I don't need to listen to you, Donald. Go to your corner, do your thing. I hope that starts happening more and more often. Unfortunately, it's happening at the cost of the economy, killing DEI programs, all of that's happening to America. It'll take us a while to dig ourselves out, but people will wake up at some point and say, I don't really need to follow the president.
Well, Omekongo, we see exactly what's going on here. These Republicans, all of a sudden, let's just be clear, and this always happens. Folks love power, and these Republicans know they're going to get their asses handed to them in the midterm elections next year. So they would rather cut and run, and guess what? Do like Christian Cinema did, pocket that campaign money and then do whatever you want with it and leave. That's all we're seeing right here. And so they're scared. They're scared of actually, oh, my God, we're going to be in the minority. That's all this is. And so all this whining, whatever.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's leaving right around the time that, her pension's going to be kicking in. So she's going to be getting that congressional pension. She's going to be millions off of insider trading, from this office as well. So if they really wanted to do something and care about the people, this is Congress. At any time, they can reassert the control that they've given to Trump at any moment, launch investigations, bring people in, find out what Tom Homan did with that Kava money. Like, they can do that if they wanted to. But like you said, wow, it's ridiculous when all of these guys are talking about, yeah, we're going to resign or retire early. It's like they just realized what Marjorie Taylor Greene's realizing. They can cash in and get out scot-free. Because if they were really about the business, if they really cared about their constituents and everything that they've been losing, Trump's making people reapply for SNAP benefits, for goodness sake. Say they could easily start partnering with the Democrats. There's more than enough votes to start launching investigations and doing the real work. And many of the people in their communities would support them. Donald Trump is underwater on everything, including immigration. So if you want to talk about, striking while the iron's hot, this would be the perfect time for them, especially coming off the Epstein vote. This would be the perfect time for them to say, yeah, now we're going to take our purse strings back. Now we're going to stand up. But you're right. They have an exit strategy, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to be leading all of that. And so, hey, if it's Leader Jeffries, majority leader coming soon, I'm here for it. We got that election in December in Tennessee. If that candidate wins, that's another Democrat seat as well. So I'm here for it. We got to keep fighting, and let's keep doing the work to push them out, because if they don't want to be there, let them go so we can get to work and do what we need to get done.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.